just seeing them earlier this year is definitely going to help us tomorrow.
For Coach and Brett, along those lines, you guys saw Sandy and Heno in your last match against Irvine. How did they kind of compare with Penn State's combination with Fisher and Wildman and the pressure they can put on?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar. You got two of the best servers in the country and kind of right in a row there, and one's a lefty and one's, they both bring big time heat, so yeah, it'll be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. One lefty, one righty, back-to-back servers. Really, really strong serving teams, both sides, so it'll be a good challenge.
Jakob, obviously you guys but you've settled with Long Beach. They're the only others lost. Is it kind of fitting that you get to see Penn State again here as the only other team that's got you guys this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good matchup for us. It's what we're looking for, to get that second game and second shot to beat them this time. But it will be a good game against us at home, so we're just looking forward to do everything we got tomorrow and, yeah, win.
That was the fall, obviously, and it's well documented that you were going through some things early on in the year. How much different is this team now to that time?
I think we're at a good stage right now. Everyone is healthy, and that's probably the first time where everyone has been at a good, healthy point for this tournament, so we're really excited to get started.
And Coach, kind of on that note, just the same thing, how much different do you see this team?
Yeah, I mean, I've said, obviously it's not ideal when you're starting setters out for a significant chunk of time throughout the year, but I think the blessing on it was that it kept everything fresh. I think offensively, we've continued to get better. And maybe if he'd been out there the whole time, things have a tendency to get a little stale, but I think the energy in practice has been really good, and I think everybody still feels we are in a relatively ascendant phase in terms of our offense, and look pretty sharp for the last few weeks.
This is for everybody up there. How beneficial was it for you guys to get the live scout last night, but also to get a team that you've played before in this in the season with Penn State as opposed to Ohio State, a team that you guys haven't seen in a few years?
Yeah, just a little higher level of familiarity. We got video on them from obviously every match of the year, but we also have video with us playing against them, and it's just a little easier to get the timing down on the block and understanding what the serves look like when you've done it against yourself.
So, Coach, you guys have, when you get off to a good start and you win the first set, you guys are 27-1. Can you just talk about how important it is for you guys to get off to a good start so that you're not playing from behind?
Yeah, sometimes the other team's got something to say about that, but we always, kind of check in our pregame meetings and stuff, just kind of what's the level of engagement, everything from their energy level to body language, make sure that, we have the highest level of engagement possible, because we've known, not just this year, but for quite some time now, that when we're fully engaged, certainly correlates to winning a lot more.
Jakob, Player of the Year will be announced later tonight. Obviously, coming up a little short last year, and then deciding to come back this year. What would it mean if you were named the Player of the Year later this evening for everything that you've gone through and what you built here at Hawaii?
Yeah, for sure, it'd be an honor to receive that award, but I think that there's a lot of worthy candidates this year that's been closer than ever, so it doesn't really matter too much who, but I think there's a lot of really great athletes out there in the country, and have proven that they're worthy for that award, so we'll see.
And Coach and Brett, he's a guy that's going to deflect a lot of praise, but what impresses you most about Jakob on the court or off the court?
You want to go first?
Sure. I mean, where do you even start? I think for me it's the consistency, professionalism off the court, and then just leading our team on the court. I think he's done a really good job for 5 years now of being a consistent leader. Obviously his service pressure, his blocking, his on-two capabilities are things that set him apart, but I think the everyday stuff is really important to our team as well.
Yeah, and I've said for a couple of years now that once he started really getting comfortable being the full-time leader, that he became a bit of a unicorn in the sense that I just couldn't come up with a comp. Where was there another collegiate setter that was doing the number of things on a court? He impacts the game in so many ways throughout a match that it's really hard to find a comparison. And then just the overall, the maturity and leadership, like Brett said, I mean, just the stability every day. And I would you know, we've had other guys like this a little bit. Like, when does Jakob Telle have a bad day? And most guys would say, like, you just don't see it. What you see every day is what you get from him on a daily basis in the practice gym.
Jakob, what's it like to sit through that?
I'm gonna start crying. No, but I think for sure what Brett has to say too is just, it goes right back to him. He's been a leader since day one, and we've been in the same class, came in together. So he's also been that consistent role and leadership. He's been taking everything in, and he's really been a hard worker, and has also inspired me to work hard. So that's just how it's been the practice gym since day one. And yeah, Coach Charlie didn't really know where to start either. It's been there for us for all the years, and he also brought me to Hawaii, so I just couldn't be more grateful for that.
This is for all three of you guys as well. I've already started seeing a lot of green, a lot of H's around town here when I got in last night. And I know the fan base travels well, but just to know that there is a big contingency of Hawaii fans out here in Fairfax, Virginia, across the country from where we're from. You know, what does that mean to you guys? And just to hear and see that kind of support, no matter how far into the country you guys go.
Yeah, our fans, they mean everything to us, and just the amount of support that we get both in Hawaii and also from the mainland. People are literally flying in all the way from Hawaii to watch us play and be there for us. So the support that we have gotten over the years, and even on the road, has been incredible. That's something that we just cannot take away, and it's something that's unique about our school and our program.
Question for Charlie. Last time you played Penn State, Ryan Merck did something that we haven't seen many teams do, be able to pass your serving. When you have a player like that who seems to be doing a good job running the system, does that change your mindset or strategy in how you serve or where you serve going into the match, or any match adjustments?
Maybe for a little for a couple of guys. We generally feel that, you know, and he played great when we played them. He really was a difference in the match. But generally, if we're putting strong serves in, we care less about who's on the other end. You know, if we're putting it at the percentage we want with the pace we want, even if it's straight to the guy, a lot of time it's a dig, it's off the net, and we're still going to get in a pretty good position defensively.
Coach, aloha. You're familiar with both the other semifinal teams. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, it's certainly makes up to a repeat of last year's semifinal before us too. Two of the best teams in the country and loaded, and should be like I say, just somewhat jokingly, I hope they play 7 sets. Right? They just keep playing, and but those are two talented teams. That should be a really entertaining match for sure.
A question for both the players. Volleyball is becoming more and more visible, able to see more matches online. But I want to ask for you two, growing up, who are some of the players that you would watch and see, man, I want to emulate this player, I want to try to be like this person?
For me, growing up in Southern California, I was around a lot of volleyball, and 10 minutes from UCI, so I'd watch them a lot with that Chris Austin and Carson Clark team that would win those national championships. And then I'd say watching Michael Christensen and Eric Shoji, those two guys from Hawaii, really good ball control guys, really good players, really good people. So those two guys and anyone from UCI really.
Yeah, and for me, I've watched a lot of volleyball over the years. Since I started, I was watching all the great setters and pretty much every position. Like Michael Christensen was for sure my biggest inspiration, becoming a setter and just trying to use some of those things into my game. But of course, there's a lot of players. My first coach was Oscar Versta, played for UCLA in the 80s and won 2 national championships, and he was also one of my first coaches. So I was watching what he did, and of course, Anders and Christian, who are now the best in the world of beach volleyball. So I've been affected by a lot of different players throughout the years, and always tune in to watch some of those best players.
And then Jakob, it's media day, so you get one off the wall question. I know you're a chess player. What's the one piece in chess where you're like, I don't need this piece, I'm okay if I lose it, besides a pawn?
No need for the queen. I can't. Yeah, when I play against Kurt, I don't need the queen to win. No, but I think there's just using all this piece you got, but the queen is it's there because it looks pretty, but I don't need it to win, especially against Kurt.
Coach and whoever else wants to jump in, when you create this type of consistent success, do you feel any pressure going into the semifinal match, knowing that you have been there, done that for 3 years in a row, and #1 team for a lot of this year, and a fourth straight. Is there any added pressure there, or are you guys trying to just look past it?
No, actually, it might be the opposite because there is a level of familiarity that all of this for a lot of teams is new, and this is stuff that we deal with throughout the year, and these guys have done it dozens of times throughout their career. So, I've always said nobody puts more pressure on us than we put on ourselves. It's not important. It's not more important to anybody about our team winning than us. So, and really this time of year, just being able to extend the season, to have another day, another week, just being around these guys, I think everybody looks at just the camaraderie that we have and want to do everything we can to have the season last as long as possible.
Jakob or Brett, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, now we're in championship mode, so it's like you never know when you're playing your last game, and you got to give everything you got every night. So just being able to play at our best, that's always the mindset going into these kind of games, and being able to perform at our highest level. Yeah.
And Coach, you talked about you guys play in a postseason environment night in, night out, but in particular, how much did the outrigger having three of the teams right now here prepare you guys for this?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, you got to play on the court and got to see them multiple times, and obviously Long Beach is in our league. We've seen them a bunch too. So again, anytime you can do something like that to raise your level of familiarity with them is an advantage. And I'm sure they feel the same way. They got to come and see you play against everybody as well.
And for Brett and Jakob, how much does this scenario kind of remind you of last year? You guys lost to Ball State early, saw them again in the Final Four. Kind of similar thing with losing to Penn State and now seeing them again tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pretty similar, but we're just focused on the now and trying to stay in the moment. Focus on a good practice today, getting ready for Penn State. Doesn't really matter what's happened before. We're trying to go out there and win.
Yeah, for me it's the same. It might feel like a deja vu for last year of getting like our redemption in the semifinals, but it's a new season, it's a new team, and a really strong opponent. So we respect them, and they're gonna respect us. Ready for a good game.